All right, so I'm kind of pissed off for a couple reasons today. One being that it was spring. By all conceivable notions of the word spring, it was spring. It was getting warmer. I put away my winter boots. I was wearing like my bomber / jean jacket combo, you know, like whatever, depending on how cold or warm it was, with like a hoodie. It was great. I went to work today in canvas shoes and a bomber jacket because the ground was dry. And now there is a like snow tundra outside that has not stopped all day. We were finally getting rid of the snow. Everything was looking great. Now it hurts to look outside the window because it's so purely white. And on top of that, the reason why there haven't been any videos in the past like 4 or 5 days, the last time I uploaded was on Friday, that is crazy, is because I don't know what happened. I uploaded a video 2 days ago. No one could see it, so I just said, okay, whatever. So I got it to upload today and it looked like it was gonna be okay, but then this trailer for Joker came out and a bunch of people were like, hey, are you gonna do a reaction to Joker? What do you think of the Joker trailer? Like, what do you think of Joaquin Phoenix? So I figured I would give it a watch, let you guys know my first impressions, because I know that I spend so much time talking about like Marvel movies, and obviously there is a giant Spider-Man standee behind me, and anybody who's in my stream knows that I frequently just berate what DC and Warner Brothers more specifically have been doing with their movies. And it comes out of a place of love, because I actually love so much of what DC does. I love so many of the DC characters. I know that the potential is there, and I just think that the people that are in charge of making the movies have made some really, really horrible choices and have made some truly horrible, horrendous films, and really, not only that, just also ruin some of the character source material. I think they're kind of steering in a good direction. I want the best for DC, and I'm kind of a big proponent of DC not doing these connected stories for a while. I think DC really needs to take a step back, let some of these characters rock on their own, and once, you know, the viewer base enjoys them and sees them and knows who they are, then they can kind of go forward with one of those Justice League stories. Now that brings us to this Joker movie, which is kind of an interesting enigma, because as you know, in the Suicide Squad movie, we had Jared Leto, much to many people's disenjoyment, anger, a lot of things. And then obviously you had that weird teen reaction of people romanticizing the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship, even though it is possibly one of the most abusive fictional character relationships of all time. The Joker is not a good person. So when people kind of feel bad for him and romanticize him in that way, it's worse than when people romanticize Edward Cullen. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But then we found out that they're going to be making this standalone movie with kind of Joaquin Phoenix, and they said it's going to be its own thing. He specifically said he would not sign on if they were going to try to lock him into a multiple movie franchise, because I think that was one of the main reasons why he turned down Doctor Strange. If you did not know, originally he was going to be involved in Doctor Strange, and obviously Marvel's like, yeah, no, this is like, you are signing on for a multiple movie franchise deal. He just wasn't down for that. He wanted to tell like one solid, interesting story, and I think he is the perfect person for a Joker character. This man's kind of done a lot of weird things. He was in some fantastic movies last year as well. Specifically, You Were Never Really Here, which I definitely recommend watching. So I was very interested when I heard he was going to be playing the Joker in kind of like a standalone Joker alternate origin type thing. I was cool with this. Okay, so before we get into some of the Joker type specific, let's actually watch the trailer. Then I'll talk about some of my thoughts about like Joker, the origin story idea of Joker in the first place, and just kind of some of my larger thoughts there. I'm gonna scoot this way. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She told me I had a purpose.
I like the way he
To
contorts
bring
his body
laughter
when
and
he's sitting
joy
like
to the
that.
world. Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Like the music, how that comes in, and it's getting crazier out there.
Heart is aching.
Another thing I really like is when they kind of play upbeat music like this, when you know something's gonna get more twisted.
When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by.
What?
If you smile your fear and sorrow.
It's a good laugh.
And maybe tomorrow.
That's kind of that tortured comedy.
What's so funny? Freak!
I want to know what he says to make them beat him up.
Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
Good cast, too. See, that could be menacing. Just a guy with
I
the
used to
nose
think
walking.
that my life was a tragedy.
Hero.
But now I realize it's a comedy.
Making comedy out of tragedy. Not in an upbeat way.
Just smile.
I like the look of it too. I like scoop back in the center. I like the look of it. Now, obviously, I haven't like sat down and analyzed this whole thing, but there is a great cast of actors there. But they clearly lay out that like something really kind of like some kind of very heinous crime has been committed, as is being mentioned on the news. You definitely get some of like that smaller, more contained kind of like that Joker origin. Almost like it kind of looked like they were going a little bit into some of what they did with the Killing Joke, but then at the same time, like nothing with what they're doing with the Killing Joke, which I'm actually kind of happy about because we have Killing Joke. They did make a really bad Killing Joke movie that took a bunch of weird liberties that I am not a fan of. That's all I'll say. So if you haven't seen the Killing Joke animated movie, I can't recommend it, but I can definitely recommend reading the comic book itself. It's definitely one of the most iconic Batman Joker storylines. Now it does kind of do that thing. There's always this debate: is the Joker more menacing when you don't know where he comes from? Does actually having a background story affect him in any way, shape, or form? I kind of fall in between. I'm excited for this. I used to be quite staunchly against any kind of origin story for the Joker because I really like the idea of, Batman becomes the way he is because his parents get killed and he sees it from a young age and it basically it shapes him for the rest of his life. So what happens to someone like the Joker to make them the Joker? And I actually really like that quote from The Killing Joke, which is, if I'm gonna have a past, I'd prefer it to be multiple choice or something like that. It's a really iconic moment that really makes you wonder, is the story that you just got told even true? Or is that just one of the many winding tales that, the Joker tells as a potential origin story? And is this gonna be a movie? I feel like this movie is gonna feel and blend those lines between fiction and reality as he kind of, falls into this, decayed state of his psyche and breaks more and more as a person. And I at least hope that when I walk out, we're kind of left wondering like, how much of that was real? How much of that was actually happening? Is it all like 100%? Is this what they're presenting as an actual, Elseworld, as a lot of the fan base has been calling it, origin story? Or is it kind of going to leave a lot of like random stuff up in the air, which is what I am personally very excited for. The trailer itself looks very good, other than like, I don't want people to start sympathizing with the Joker, and I think that's kind of an issue when you kind of make them the central character in a movie. You got to remember that the Joker is still evil. He kills children, he tortures people, he does unspeakable acts to the people that he comes in contact with. I really recommend, there's actually a Batman Beyond episode called Return of the Joker that had to get like censored for television, and it is one of the most brutal episodes. And it's actually more like an animated film. It just fits into the Batman Beyond storyline when they're telling it. And what happens to Robin in that story is actually terrifying, considering this was essentially aimed at children or, young preteen type things. Like I remember growing up watching that movie, and yeah, it has some moments and it's harsh, and you kind of got to remember that is the Joker at his core. The Joker is not a good person. The Joker is actually probably the most terrifying villain the world has ever seen. Like Batman really lucked out. He got most of the best villains. There's like a couple superheroes that are just absolutely stacked with fantastic villains. I would say Spider-Man's one, but like Batman absolutely has one of the most excellent rogue galleries of villains ever, and the Joker is probably the most iconic villain in what he is and what he does, and how he is just so terrifying without having to have these insane, wondrous super abilities or special powers or world-dominating levels of influence in that way. He's just terrifying as a person. And if this movie can really tap into that, I think it's going to do incredibly well. I'm pretty sure in that trailer you actually see Bruce Wayne when he's a kid. So right there, you know it's kind of like an Elseworld type story. I just want them to make a good movie. I don't care if it 100% ties back to an iconic storyline. I don't care if it kind of takes a little bit from Killing Joke and then jumps off of it. That almost fits the Joker mythos better. And like we have Killing Joke in its fantastic comic book written form. I don't necessarily need to see it live action, but you fundamentally still get what that character is about. And I think that that is going to be really important here, is that it looks like the Joker is going to be the Joker. It's just kind of, he's just kind of running his own little show here separately. And I'm personally very excited to see it. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments section down below. What did you like about the trailer? What did you not like? Obviously it didn't show too much of the plot, but I like it. It's kind of got that comedic, sinister vibe that I'm actually just a fan of for movies in general. Some of my favorite horror movies are the ones that kind of have like this dark humor infused in it, or these ultra-violent movies infused with like random humor. I'm actually really into those, and I think we're gonna see a little bit of that here. So let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. The video that was originally supposed to be out yesterday will be out tomorrow. Some of that information is definitely going to be dated now, but once it's a couple of updates on stories, so hopefully you guys are into that. Sorry if you were looking for a different video and you're not into these like movie discussion things, but I just wanted to do this, get it out there. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hopefully it is not snowing wherever the hell you are, because this is fucking disgusting. It hasn't stopped for like 12 hours. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all later.